Hi, and welcome to our Excel tutorial for beginners. My name is Monique, and we will start by simply going through the basic functionalities and layout of Excel. So let's go ahead and start by opening up a blank workbook, which is what we're going to start with. So the first thing we're going to look at is, or the first thing we see once we open Excel is a blank grid. So as you can see, the top rows or the top columns are labeled with capital letters. These are our columns. So as you can see, if you click the letter for any one, it highlights the entire column for you. These ones to the left with numbers are called our rows. You highlight them and you click the numbers and it highlights the entire row for you. These grid spaces, these white spaces, are called cells. So you will notice that for each cell it has an assigned row and an assigned column. So the point where the columns and the rows meet, it's called a cell, and each cell has its own address. So if you click on this cell, you notice the address for this is column C, row 3, column A, row 1. And for a simplified way of finding the exact address for the cell that you're in, you can simply look in this bar to the left. It will tell you exactly where you are in the sheet. Now, this document is basically called an Excel workbook. An Excel workbook is usually made up of several sheets. So you'll notice you have sheet 1, and you can go ahead and add another sheet for sheet 2 and add sheet 3. Now if you save this, you save an Excel workbook with 3 Excel worksheets. Now we're going to be working with sheet 1 first, and by the end of this tutorial, you will be able to make your own simple database with simple information in it, and you should be able to maneuver Excel well enough to be able to create your own database. Alright, this bar is our formula bar. So this is where anything we type in an Excel, a cell, so you see we type anything, it's also shown in the formula bar. Now if you type a formula, say example, you want to add two numbers together, equal 5 plus 8, you'll see the cell will show 13, but when you click on the cell and you look in the formula bar, it shows you the exact formula that gives the result of 13. So we will see more uses of the formula bar later when we get to more advanced stuff in Excel. Now let's look at the different types of data that we can enter into a cell. So we can enter anything from numbers to names or words, any words, formulas, currency, percentages, symbols, anything can be entered into an Excel sheet. So in order to edit a cell, as you see I've been doing, it's very simple. Just click on the cell and start typing. Now if you want to edit a cell that already has data in it, simply double click and you will see the cursor takes the end of the word that's in the cell and you can continue typing. Now if you want to overwrite anything that's in a cell, you simply click on the cell once and start typing, and it will overwrite anything that was in that specific cell. Now let's take a look at the ribbon. So you will see up here multiple tabs. So by default you will start with the home tab. This is where we find many different functionalities that allows us to do lots of maneuvering or editing or formatting of the entire Excel spreadsheet or workbook. Now we will go into each of these tabs in more details as we move to more advanced stuff, but we will go through simple, basic, everyday functionalities that we will find on the home tab. So some of the most basic things that we can do with the home tab is to bold a name or a cell, bold anything that's in a cell, italics or underline it. You notice the differences. So we can also highlight a cell. We can choose a color for the text that is in a cell. Let's choose something a little bit more obvious, right? Yes. So you can change the color of the text. You can increase the size. You can reduce the size. or if you prefer to type it or go through the list, you can use the drop down, and you can also select your font, right? So that's the font tab. So all the manipulations of the different font names or types or sizes you can do from the font menu. The alignment menu allows us to manipulate the text that we have in our cells in any way we want. So if we want something to be centered, you have the center tab. If you want something, say if you have a huge cell, you want to merge a few cells together, you use the merge and center, and you have something written in here and you want this to appear in the center of this cell, you use the center tab. Now for today, we will only be using the font and the alignment menus. So let us erase all that we have here, and we will start looking at creating a simple database. Alright, so for our database, let's start by entering some information. I'm going to enter some dates. Now I want to show you something. So we had entered a date into this field. So you notice when you look in the formula bar, you see the full date, but when you look in the cell, you just see a bunch of number signs. That simply means that the cell is too small for the width of the data that's in it. So there's a simple way to fix that. You position your mouse right at the column between where at the corner or the right of the cell that you want to expand so that the data fits. When you see this two-way arrow come up, you simply click and drag to expand the cell, and that simply fixes your arrow. So let's continue entering some more information so that we can start setting up our database. Alright, so we have entered some information for our database. So let's go ahead and expand some of these cells. So another shortcut is once you get this double arrow here, you can simply do a double click and it will automatically expand the cells to where it needs to be. Right, so let's do that. You see it automatically shortens this one. Okay, so let's look at autofilling, right? So we started this database. Now we want to know how many records are in our database. We can simply do that. Say if we had 5 records here and we wanted to know how many, we can simply number it 1, 2, 3. And there is also, say if you had 100 records, instead of sitting and typing 100 numbers, you can use autofill, right? So you select all 3, the first 3 that you typed, you want to click in the corner of the bottom of the highlighted cells where you see this plus sign appears, and you drag it down to the number that you need, and you notice it will autofill. Now it does that for sequential dates, sequential numbers, anything that you are doing that has a sequence, Excel will automatically fill it for you once you do that drag down. Okay, so oftentimes while creating databases, there will be the occasion where you need to insert a cell. Say we need a header for this table, right? So it's very simple. You want to insert a row. So you're going to click on the number that you want to insert the row above, right click and select insert. Now that will automatically insert one row for you. If you want to insert multiple rows, you can select and drag down to the number of rows that you would like to insert. So if I want to insert 4 rows at the top, I highlight 4 rows, right click, insert, and it will automatically insert 4 rows for me. Now I want to give this table a heading. So we're going to block all of these cells above the table, and we're going to merge this so that we get a header, right? So we click the merge and center button, and you notice it merges everything. So now I can type the header for this table. So let us name it employee database, right? So now we want this to be centered in the middle of this cell. So as I showed you, we click that one, and let's increase the font size. Alright, let's change the font. and let's bold it. We can even put this in another color, employee database. Alright, so now we need headings for each column. So we're going to name this start date, last name, first name, phone, address, city. Right? And if you would like to apply some bold to this, we can make it bold just to make it stand out. Right? And there we have it. We have a simple database. Now this can continue to 50 records, 100 records, 1,000 records, as many records as you need. You can continue entering. If you need to add columns in between, it works the same way. We highlight the column that we would like to insert one behind. Right click, insert, and you'll notice the column is inserted behind the address column that we had highlighted. So we can go ahead and say address line 1. Anything that you need, let's expand that. Anything you need. So this is simply how we would maneuver a simple Excel worksheet to create a database, right? So thank you for watching this video. This is simply an introduction, and we will have more advanced stuff coming up in later lessons. So subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content. You can leave a message and let me know the type of content that you would like to see, or if there's any specific side of Excel that you'd like me to cover. All right, thank you so much guys, and I'll see you in the next one.